Hello, welcome to day 4 of the global prayer and healing for the community as we gather together in love and light. And today we have a very special treat. We're going to do some sound healing with my good friend Emma Kennedy. And before we go there, I wanted to just get a pulse of where you are and how we're feeling. Have you watched any of the old videos from the days before? Have you done any of the exercises? Breath work, meditation, visualization, journaling, positive affirmations, gratitude journaling. These are all things that we have talked on and given tools and techniques for you during this time. And the other thing I also wanted to do was just to put the word out there. There's a lot of fake news and a lot of fear-mongering information going around. And I just want to say, pause, do your due diligence and do your research. Check 4 to 5 different sources. Check sources that you trust to validate whether the story is real or not before you either react or you share it. Let's try to do our best not to continue to spread fake news out there. I saw someone share with me a picture of a cross in Pepperdine University that survived the fire, and that fire was actually not currently this fire. It was a fire from, I think, a year or 2 ago. And even though it was a beautiful story, as far as giving people hope that this cross was still standing, it's still fake news. And so let's do our best. And it's getting harder and harder now with AI. So I just ask you, before you freak out and you spread the word, make sure that you do your part and do your research. So with that being said, I wanted to also share with you some of the items that is recommended to pack for a go bag on emergencies. I have, each one of my family members has their own emergency backpack set already. And it's a good reminder of what it is that we should be packing in there that is going to serve us in the first week of a disaster. So definitely a first aid kit, and make sure it's decently stocked. Have a couple of weeks of supply, any prescription medications that you need, any skin glue that you can find in there as well. Make sure you have plenty of cash, because a lot of the times the system goes down and you're not able to get money out of the bank. So make sure that you have that. 1 set of clothing. Think layers. At night it gets cold, so you want to definitely pack long sleeve shirts, maybe a beanie and some gloves, a blanket to keep you warm. I have the airplane blankets that I collected over the years. They're really thin and they don't take a lot of room. So something really small and compact but warm is a really good idea to have. A cranking style flashlight, something that doesn't require batteries. A whistle is good for people to locate you in a crowd. Non-perishable foods and energy bars, anything that can be in your emergency kit for over a year is good to have. Definitely water. One of the things that I also have in our emergency kits are water filters. They're individual and they can be put to use right away. And goggles to protect your eyes from smoke, from debris, and some rope because it has endless uses. A big black trash bag so that you can use as a poncho if it's raining, or a raincoat if you have one. One of those emergency camping ones. Let's see what else it says here. A multi-use knife. Think Army Swiss knife, something that is really going to be multi-purpose for you. You never know when you're going to need that stuff. I have one in my purse that I often reach into. Very versatile. Dust masks. Definitely have masks for that smoke and any debris that might be in the air. Plastic sheeting. Not sure what the plastic sheeting is for, maybe so that you can lay down and go sleep. Copies of your passport, your driver's license, all your insurance information, any other important information should be in your emergency go bag as well. And a map of your area. And then map it out where you plan to go if your family gets separated. You definitely want to have a meet place in that event, because the phone system sometimes is hard to connect because there's so many people using it. So just for peace of mind, either have walkie-talkies. I have walkie-talkies in our backpack, and or having a way of how to connect and where to meet. Toiletries, that is a given. And I think sometimes we forget shampoo, soap, toothpaste. Those things are usually the things that people need the most right away. What else? Maxi pads, diapers, sticky pads, and pens and paper in case you need to leave a note for anybody. Wow, I didn't even think of that one. Antibacterial hand wash. You definitely want to have a way to clean and sanitize your hands. And a comfortable, sturdy pair of shoes, a pair of work gloves, again, in case you need to dig through rubble, in that case, especially during a rescue and retrieval. 3 pair of underwear and 3 pair of socks. And then pet care products and pet food and pet medication. So those are all the things that come recommended for a go bag. So I hope that you, I know living in LA, they tell us we're earthquake prone, always have a go emergency kit on the way. And I know that a lot of us, including me, didn't for a long time until now. So don't wait another day. Don't wait for another disaster. The next one could be in your town and you could be affected. So don't be a sitting duck. Do what you can now to get yourself prepared and ready so that when these times come, you're able to focus on really what's important and not having the things, you know. And another thing that I asked my kids to pack too were some of their favorite mementos, something that will bring normalcy in their lives in some way. Maybe even chocolate, some sweets, and some pictures. Don't forget a few of the pictures that really mean the most to you, because in times of grief and loss, seeing a familiar face or being reminded of good time, it gives you just peace of mind and solace. So with that all being said, I want to take just 1 minute to say a prayer out for those of us who are still affected and are struggling and need just some prayers. So I'll say, God, who art in heaven, please give strength and hope and peace to those who are affected by the fires, who are displaced, who have lost loved ones, who have lost everything. I ask that you bring them strength and resilience so that they can push forward during this time, that they see the love and light that their community and friends are showering them with, that they understand that the important thing is that they're safe and that they're with their families, and that they are given grace as they move forward in this day. I ask you to hold them in your heart and your love and in your graces. Show them the light. And I ask with that, in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay. So with that, I want to welcome my beautiful friend Emma Kennedy, who so graciously is offering a beautiful sound healing for us today. We are made of energy vibration, and sound is vibration. And when the sound vibrates with your energies, it really helps to balance and clear the noise and get you back into balance. And I'm sure Emma could probably speak more a little bit about the importance of sound therapy and how it can shift you. So with that, Emma, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're calling from, and it's all you. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, welcome everyone. My name's Emma. I'm in the UK, Leicester in the UK, in the Midlands. I've known Margarita for a while now. So when she asked me to come on, I'm so honoured to come and share the frequency and the sound. So as we get born, we have this physical vessel and we have our energy bodies. So when we suffer shock or trauma, our energy bodies can just put us into a state of fright, and we go into fight or flight. So really, any experience we have through life has the potential to impact our energy body, which then comes out in the physical. So for obviously what you guys are going through at the minute, it's such a shock and a very deep trauma. Like I say, if you've lost people, if you've lost your house, your belonging, you're just in a state of not knowing what the next step is really. So my invitation to you today is, the sound has the ability to work very deeply into the cells, into the tissues of the body, to release emotions, to release sensations that aren't serving you long term. But right now it feels like it's about just bringing you back into peace, back into your breath, into your body. Because what happens is when we suffer trauma, when we suffer such extreme shock, parts of us can just dissociate, and then it's really hard to ground. So it's my invitation is just to come back to your heartbeat, come back to your body. So maybe as we go into this, just really connecting with your body and connecting with your breath. The sound will come in, the sound waves come in, and they just alter the brainwave. So we are in a certain consciousness right now, and as the sound comes in, it just helps to settle the brain wave, which then physiologically is going to just help you to slow your breathing, slow your heart rate, slow your nervous system, bring your nervous system back into regulation. So I'll just carry on and I'll just talk you through. I always open up with a little chant, with a little prayer. My invitation today is just to come into your body, connect, because you have to find ways now to feel grounded, to feel safe in your physical body. And one of the best things you can do, like Margarita's already mentioned, is breath work, is grounding. When you're suffering and, in that space of shock and you don't know what you've lost, what you haven't lost, it's just coming back. You can get back to a place where you feel grounded in your body and be present with every emotion that arises. That you must be feeling a whole heap of stuff, and whether that's anger, whether that's shock, whether that's tears, whether that's grief, that not knowing what the next step forward can leave you feeling so dissociated and out of body. So my invitation now, let's just get going. I'm just going to open up with a prayer. I just want you to put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly, and exhale. And remembering, the more you can come back to center, the more you're going to be able to just integrate and bit by bit integrate what's happened. And this doesn't have to happen overnight, and you're going to have to just witness and observe and allow the feelings that arise within you to come. So the sound may evoke emotions. Everything is welcome. Everything is welcome. Whatever comes up, if you need to cry tears, if you feel like you need to scream, like whatever needs to come out, just allow it to be, and then come back to your breath, come back to your body. So just breathing in and breathing out. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing to do in a moment of trauma, but it's just breathing in, allowing the breath to come into the body, and for just momentarily holding that breath, and then allowing the body to exhale. And I want you to consciously just think about extending that exhalation. When you get so tight, everything gets locked. It's like it's breathing out longer than your inhalation. And this is a practice all of its own. So I just want you to be with the breath while I open up with a prayer, and then I'll take you deeper into the relaxation. And as you breathe out, wherever you're sitting, wherever your feet are, you're grounding into Mother Earth. No, Mother Earth is holding you. You might not feel that right now, but bigger than the trauma, bigger than the event, this eternal presence of Mother Earth is underneath you. She's holding you. And as you inhale, you're filling up with the love, with the light, with the space, with the sky, with the cosmos, with the heavens, with God, whatever that is for you. And as you exhale, down, 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 Right now, there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, just being present in your body with your breath. Saminche, kapnche, tulunche, awai, ache, aye. Saminche, kapnche, tulunche, awai, ache, aye. Winye kausak taita mama kuna anaya 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 raya raya. So as you just stay connected with your breath in the midst of everything that's going on, I just want you to hold on to your heartbeat. You're coming to your heartbeat. You're just connecting with the heartbeat, feeling that breath. So feeling your heart beating in your body and just giving thanks for your life, right here, right now, this gift of life. Called to Creator, to God, to the Cosmic Mother and Father, sacred space and time, holding you in ceremony for you, giving thanks for your gift of life. And as you give thanks for your gift of life, giving thanks for those, your family, your loved ones, and those that have suffered loss, honouring that, being with what is, and honouring the ancestors, honouring your ancestors of blood and bone, and knowing your ancestors are with you. With your ancestry, in that heartbeat, honouring your mother line, your father line, all the way back to the beginning of time, as we share this prayer ceremony, honouring all those involved, family, friends, the wider community, honouring the firefighters, honouring those who have passed, knowing that together we connect in this heart space, in our heart space, and knowing that there are those that have passed before that are holding you, that are sending their love and their healing and their prayers. And honouring and giving thanks to Mother Earth. She's holding you, she's your greatest ally, and just giving thanks for all that she provides and all that will come through the community efforts, for food, for water, for shelter. So honouring the elements and honouring the directions, I want you to just remember that you are not separate from Mother Earth, and even though this fire has caused immense devastation, there will be cleansing, there will be renewal. I'm just praying for ease and grace as you go through this transition, this transformation. So as I just call in the directions, I call in the elements, honouring your own physical vessel. So in the east, the wind, we call for low winds. We call to the spirit of the wind. For low winds, any emergency operations, and the elements cooperate and help. The spirit of air, just the eagle perspective, looking down, being able to see the bigger picture, just being held with these winds of change, that you find comfort in your own body, in your community, as you see the community efforts of those that pull together to support each other. And I call to the energy of unconditional love in times of stress and such deep loss. It's when we come together, we just feel that heart, that love, that light, that connection, that we feel the community, we feel unconditional love. Hampwe Munai. And in the west, the sacred waters, allowing the emotions to flow, allowing your emotion to just come, just being with it, whatever comes, honouring yourself. And we call to the waters, we call to the rain, to put out the fires and enough water so people may drink and not know thirst. We call Yache that divine cosmic intelligence. So pray into the sacred waters within your own body just to allow flow. Allow yourself to flow with this process. Allow the emotions to flow as they need to, knowing you are held. Hampweache. Amaye na yo na ye na na yo wa ye na ya ye yo. In the north, Mother Earth, this north portal, honouring and acknowledging Mother Earth and all that she will provide, that you may not hunger, that you pull together for resources, for strength, for resilience. That place of retreat, knowing when you just need to take time out to be with your own process, and knowing that transcendental presence, not thinking back, not thinking too far forward, just being in the moment, doing what you need to do moment by moment. And in this space we connect to the skies, to the heavens, to the cosmos, calling on our allies, calling on your God, calling on our star brothers and sisters, all those that hold us from the heavenly, higher cosmic realms, for strength, for courage, for resilience, knowing you are not alone. Calling on the energy of Yankai, this sacred presence with self. As you give unconditionally to each other, just knowing when you need to take time out, honouring yourself in your process, when you need to take a breath and need to be with yourself, to scream, to cry, to grieve, to be together, honouring yourself. You cannot give what you do not have, so taking that time to prioritise your little moments of cave retreat, just to come back in fuller presence. And in the south, the sacred fire. And as you witness the devastation of the fire, I want you to turn inwards to your own inner light, your inner fire. And just taking time to connect inwardly with your vital spark, your vital force, which may feel so challenged right now in the grief and the devastation. What do you need to do to keep that fire within you burning bright as you pull together as a community to hold each other in love, in strength, as you take moment by moment, doing what needs to be done to come together in community to rebuild. And from this fire, like the phoenix, you will rise together. We call on the medicine of the phoenix, we call on the medicine of the dragon, of the sacred snake that rises from the ashes. You will be born again together as a community, holding each other hand in hand, heart to heart. We are vibration, calling to Mother Earth below, the energy of below, the medicines of the land, the trees, the crystals, the herbs, calling in the vibrational medicines now for strength, for healing, for love, for compassion. And I call to the mountain spirits and the feminine spirits of the land, the mountains of your area, the feminine, the oceans of your area. Call to the medicines, call to these vibrational masters of light that hold the space around you and throughout the globe, the Apusanustas, to bring strength, to bring love, to bring healing. Thank you, Mother Earth, for holding each and every person affected by these fires, and for others around the globe affected by homelessness and devastation. Together we rise as one global family, holding each other strong. And above, thank you to the heavenly realms, the archangels, God, whatever that energy is for you, our star brothers and sisters, our galactic brotherhood, sisterhood. Thank you, holding us strong, that we may rise together in unity. Back to your heartbeat. Remembering in the midst of everything, connecting to yourself, to your heartbeat. Knowing you are held, you are loved. Connecting with your family, with your friends, with your community, and knowing in this space, as we own our own motherline and fatherline all the way back to the beginning of time, we remember our unity. We are all one. So knowing as many people around the globe are sending their prayers, all you have to do is come back to your heartbeat, to your breath. Feel your roots connecting down, deep down into Mother Earth. And through the crown, you're connected to the cosmos. Held. And now, just as you connect with that breath, just allowing your breath in and out. Just being steady, not forcing the breath. And just noticing within your body any areas of tension. You may be feeling tight or restricted in a certain area, and using your breath as a way to just breathe into the places that feel tight and exhale. Body, so starting from your toes to your ankles, all the way up to your knees, letting go. side of the back, all the way up to the right shoulder, just feeling an energy, just making a little trace with your own mind, following that journey up to the right shoulder. Maybe taking the right shoulder up to the ear, and as you exhale, really just allowing that shoulder to drop. Following that energy down the right arm to the right fingers and to the thumb. And I want you just to intentionally open your palms. Sometimes we can be gripping on so tightly that you have forgotten how to be in the flow. So open up your palms to receive this frequency, to receive Mother Earth's love, to receive God's love. And dropping back to your pelvis. And coming up the left side of the back, all the way up to that left shoulder. Breathing in, taking the shoulder all the way up to the ear. And as you exhale, roll that shoulder back, using your breath to come down the body. Letting go down the left arm, all the way to the wrist, to the fingers, to the thumb. And now I just want you to place your palms face up in your lap, opening to receive. To receive the love of your brothers and sisters that are sitting in ceremony, that are sitting in prayer. To receive the love of Mother Earth, of your friends, of your family, of your community. To receive God's love. And now just one more breathing. Take your shoulders both up. Breathe in. Exhaling all the way back, shoulders round and down, letting go, being held in this moment. Dropping back to the pelvis, coming up with inside the body now. You're coming up behind the solar plexus. I want you to visualize just a golden yellow sun. And this area might feel very tense, might feel very jangly. So we're signaling now to your nervous system. In this moment, in your body, you are safe, you are held. Signaling to the nervous system, it is okay to switch off in this moment, to receive these sound frequencies, to receive this healing love. You are safe, you are held. diaphragm to let go. Letting go of any holding patterns that you may be just there with the breath, where you've gone into shock or you've gone into that trauma response. So just maybe humming to yourself. As you breathe in, I want you just to exhale and hum to yourself. So just humming. And as you hum, you're breathing out. So hum all the way to the end of the breath. And what this humming does, it releases nitrous oxide into the nasal cavities, which then acts around the body to help just release natural relaxants into the bloodstream. So even if you feel yourself flicking back into a nervous system response, breathe in and hum. Bring yourself into your body. And then just traveling into your heart. And I just want you to breathe in again into this heart space. And visualizing the green of the leaves, of the grass. And just being with whatever is in your heart space. Maybe there's grief, maybe there's more fear, maybe there's tears, maybe there's sadness. Whatever's there, just allowing it to be. And just above our heart, we have our higher heart, which is this place of unity consciousness. So knowing that no matter what you're feeling, honour it and just know that the global family, your other brothers and sisters, this is our place where we unite as one. And there are people all over the world, all over the globe, sending their prayers, sending their love, and just feeling held, feeling that connection with all of humanity through this space. And just imagining yourself in a little bubble of energy, and whatever colour is your favourite colour, if you like and you work with crystals, maybe you've got a crystal that you can use, that you just put yourself in a really beautiful crystalline coloured bubble, so that anything of a lower frequency has that ability to transmute to the higher frequency automatically. By just coming into this space, being with what is. And sometimes those feelings are heavy and weigh you down, and just by being present, being with what is, allowing it to come through you as tears, as anger, as screaming, as raging, as stillness, as quiet, whatever works, just allowing that energy to transmute. And if you can't do that for yourself, then be with that and know that the prayers and the love are coming to you. And just giving yourself the time and space you need. So we're just breathing this beautiful green energy. And then just moving up to the heart, into the throat. I just want you to visualise a beautiful blue colour, that sea blue, nice turquoise blue. And we're just breathing in that blue frequency, calling on the blue frequency, the blue ray, the blue light, to bring calm, to bring peace, to bring tranquility to your system. want to, you can always just let out a sound from your throat. So however your emotions want to come out, humming or making a sound like that is a really good way to clear emotion and clear energy as it builds up inside of you, and giving some expression to what you're witnessing, to what you're feeling. And by making these sounds, you can bring some regulation back to your vagus nerve, to your nervous system. Or if where you're at right now is that all you can do is sit and receive, then let that be so. This energy, this frequency to come up through the jaw, releasing through your jaw. It's another area we really store tension and stress. Maybe wriggling your jaw from side to side, having a big yawn, opening your mouth wide and stretching. Just feel the energy moving up through the jaw, through the forehead, releasing the forehead, just noticing the muscles in the forehead. Need to just stretch your neck gently, gently, moving your neck from side to side. Maybe as you breathe in, you just exhale and take the neck forward, so you actually bring some relaxation, some stretching to the back of the neck, because that whole central nervous system, the spine, may have again gone into a trauma, so it's just releasing and stretching with the exhalation, letting your head hang. And actually you can just give the back of your neck a rub, going into the occipital bones, really giving that a good little massage, because the vagus nerve starts to stem out there, and when your body's in a stress response, the vagus nerve is what's affected. So just some self-help massage techniques, just ways of soothing. So from that massage, maybe you just calm down your arms, and you can just give yourself a little rub at the top of your collarbones and just into that little gap underneath the collarbone where it meets the shoulder. Any rubbing across here, you're connecting with the meridian channels for the lungs where we store grief. And again, just allowing the energy to start flowing through your body again. You can even just tap on your heart space. This is a really great way just to regulate the meridian, the nervous system, the energy channels. And just feeling actually, what does that do? How do you feel when you just allow yourself to self-soothe for a minute? And from then there, maybe you just stroke down your arms and shake your hands a little bit. Breathe in, just shake, just allow, is there any energy in the body? When you see animals in trauma, they go into a shaking response to release that. So just allow the energy to move through the body, don't allow it to get trapped. And then just allow yourself, and you feel like you've Release what you need to release, just to come back to the stillness and just observe if you feel a difference in your energy, in your internal state. And just opening up through the crown of your head. If we visualize the crown of our head as a beautiful flower opening, I want you to visualize the petals opening. So the flower is in full bloom. And from here, you're just receiving the cosmic vibrations of the universe, of God's source. And feel this energy, this gold and silver frequency light of love, of light, of high frequency Sami energy cascading down through your crown. Allowing yourself to receive healing love, healing vibration, high frequency energy. So visualizing it as stardust, as rain sprinkling down through your physical body, knowing that you are not just a physical body, so through your emotional body, through your mental body, through your spiritual bodies, cascading down, releasing, relaxing, healing frequencies. And as that comes down, like a gentle, being immersed in a gentle, beautiful rainbow frequency waterfall, I just want you to now feel that groundedness to the earth, centered in your heart and your body, and just receive the sound. Just allow the sound to come into the body wherever it needs to go. You are safe, you are held, you are secure inside. your body, just being with whatever arises. So as you listen to the flute song, I just want you to remember that your spirit is eternal and you will rise together and you will rise again. So being what is with what is, and just allowing this song to lift your spirits to the highest mountain tops. And as you listen to the flute, just calling back any lost or dissociated parts of self. We just fly like the eagle, like the condor, and we call back those parts of ourselves back into wholeness, back into this place within our bodies. Now just allowing yourself just to feel the healing waters, just cleansing, soothing, holding you. Like just being in an amniotic sac, those healing primordial waters that hold us safe, that nurture us. Knowing you're held, safe. Just staying with the body, staying with the breath. Just staying with the body, staying with the breath. Just allowing your thoughts, feelings, sensations that arise to come, to be witnessed, to be felt, to let go. So just coming back to presence now, just calling back those parts of self and just anchoring into the body, this presence, this moment of stillness, this moment of peace, this moment of calm in the midst of the chaos, and just setting an intention to anchor that into your nervous system. So in that unfolding of the story of whatever is happening, what happens from this point, you've got an anchor point to come back to stillness, to come back to peace, to come back to presence. And knowing that whatever arises, just to let it be, to be with it, to feel it, to express it, to release it, to come back to the presence. To touch your body, to hold your neck, to hug yourself, however that is that you come back to that feeling of safety within. Maybe making that your daily practice, just to find a way to come back into your body and feel safe and present. And if you can be that one anchor, then you get to be the medicine for your family, for those that are struggling and haven't quite found that way back to that internal place. And together you do that and you stay strong. And that feeling of the Earth Mother and God's presence is within each and every one of you. Just making sure you're fully present in your body. And just bringing this space to a close. Just giving thanks to God, to Creator, Cosmic Mother and Father, sacred space and time. Honouring our ancestors, Mother Earth, east to west, north to south, the earth, the water, the fire, and the air, above and below. Honouring each and every one of you, for your journey, for your presence, that eternal heartbeat that unites us as one global human family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings of high frequency energy. And just remembering that the sound does act very deeply into the body. So you might release toxins, you might be releasing through the vibration. So make sure you drink plenty of water, stay hydrated, and just be with what arises. Sometimes you might just feel peace. You know, whatever's going, it's going on out there anyway. You might need to cry. It might help you to release if you were feeling stuck and locked. It might help you to actually cry and release some of the trauma and the shock and the devastation that's going on. But just knowing that actually by connecting and coming back to the breath, it's finding those ways back into the body, to your heart, to your belly, to your womb. Just being with the body and remembering to breathe and connect up and connect below. And just find that strength in yourself so that you can be strong for those around you as well. And actually, there's so many beautiful sharings on YouTube. If you're finding that you can't find that balance by yourself, then go on YouTube and look up healing frequencies. There's so much on there that you can just put some frequency music on in the background while you. There's a way of resetting the body back to, and this point here to just reset the meridian channels, everything back to. It's great. So, and if you can't do it for yourself, because sometimes you get locked in that pattern, it's just having someone next to you to remind you. Spread the word, teach people so that they can remind you when you get locked, and just being with what is. So yeah. But my love, and from the UK, I'm sending so much love and healing light and vibration.
First of all, words cannot express just how beautiful of a gift that was for us. Thank you. Personally, I felt a lot of energy moving, going down my legs, down from my spine down to my legs. I did a lot of yawning and I did a lot of burping, so I know that there's so much healing that happened during this beautiful, beautiful sound healing. Your words, your wisdom, your guidance was just beyond. I was filled with so much gratitude for this, and it really helped open my heart. And I cried. I did. I didn't realize. Last night, after doing the hypno breath work with my friend Jen Raymond, I think you know her. And so she did the hypno breath work, and it was like later, it was like 5 p.m., I think, when I just broke down and I started crying. And so this work works, guys. Like, I really implore you to try it out. Sound healing really does bring you back to balance. So I just want to say I'm honored and so grateful for you. And I'm so thankful that you do this work in the world. You're so magical at it, and your voice and your everything was just beautiful. And I can't thank you enough. And I'm going to look you up because I want to sign up for your work. It's my first time
Oh, great,
experiencing
yeah.
sound therapy
Oh, wow.
this way. I do put on sound frequencies in my house just to have them in my house as I'm doing other things. Solfeggio frequencies are ones I play often, and I also play Jonathan Goldman.
Yeah.
He has some really great songs as well. They just play in the background. But this was a beautiful magical gift.
I'll share a link on WhatsApp. I did a recording with a friend who plays hangpan, so we've done some really deep work together. It's a masculine, feminine, our voices together that evolve. So I'll share that with you if you want to share it with anyone in the community. It's on YouTube, and I'm just in the process of recording other stuff at the minute.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, you and I are going to get on a phone call after this and see how I can support you and just get involved in what you're doing. It's pretty magical. So thank you again so much for being here and for just bringing love and light.
it's really beautiful because from afar, I can pray, but like to be able to actually be involved and really support the community feels like a real blessing and an honor. So
Thank you. Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm just going to take 1 minute to just kind of let that integrate. And if you did the exercise with us, just sit and just really listen to your higher wisdom. What do you need right now? What is your body telling you? Sit in silence also to send that energy of gratitude that you're probably feeling like I am to those in the world affected, to the people that you love. Imagine yourself holding them high, wrapping them in your arms, in your love, in your light. I feel so blissful. I don't know about you. So I feel like I'm in a trance still, Emma. So thank you for that.
It's really important. Just, honor it. Just have a few minutes of silence because I think that is where the integration really happens. All the magic's
Yeah.
happening, and it's like everything still keeps vibrating. So it's important to just allow that space and allow that stillness. If I was running this as a sound bath, I would give people like that 5, 10 minutes.
Great.
Often
Thank you
people
for
don't
that.
want to get up off the floor. Their duvets are there. They want to stay snuggled. They want to just be laying down and just because it's in the silence, it's in the stillness that it's where the magic really happens. So it's
Well, in honor of that wisdom, I will definitely take 2 minutes and just sit because that is what my spirit and
yeah,
my body is calling me to do as well.
let's just sit in that presence and in that we can just be in that heart space and just connect with all those that need that frequency of stillness and peace. Let's just sit with that as a prayer now. Let's have a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Thank you again, Emma. Pleasure. Okay, I don't know about you folks and how you're feeling after this beautiful sound bath. For you to be here, I'm grateful for everyone who has shared this link. I am at Margarita Rose on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. Margarita Rose underscore number 8 is my actual handle. Subscribe, turn on the alerts notifications so when I go live or any new posts come on, you are there to see them. And share with your community. If this supports you, share it and spread the word that these are tomorrow and then all next week. I have set up also more of these prayers and healing for the community, for the globe, for the nation, who is not just mourning us in the LA fires, but also mourning their own travesties and their own grief and their own losses. So this is transcends just not just here, but it transcends everywhere. And that is the intention. The intention is to come together, we all one. And as you heard, all of my guest speakers, all of them have all said we are one, that we're connected, that we're not separate from others. And Emma, I love what you said about smiling in there, because yesterday, as my son, I could tell he was down and really sad. And I asked him to smile, because smiling it activates your radiant circuit, right? Which is an energy. And that's where our joy resides. So smiling, especially in times where we don't want to smile or feel like smiling, and it can sometimes even feel fake, it doesn't matter. Do it. Do it. Eventually the smile becomes real, and then you start to feel the energy of the smile, and it helps to shift your current state into a more positive one. Other ways that you can use energy medicine to shift you, especially when you're in stress, because that's your fight, flight, and freeze response, is to do what I call what is called the triple warmer smoothie. And these are all things I learned through following Donna Eden. But it's a lot of people do it, and it's a yogic, it's qigong. Anybody who knows anything about energy medicine and the meridians do these postures. They're even in the hieroglyphs in the pyramids. So one of the things is to always rub your hands to activate your energies, and then shake them off so any excess energy or unwanted energy can just disperse. And then you're going to put your hands over your eyes, and you're going to take one deep breath in here. And as you exhale from the mouth, you're going to move your hands out to your temples and rest there as you breathe out. You're going to take one deep breath in again through the nose. And as you exhale the mouth, you're going to go up and around your ears. And you're going to rest down on the tops of your shoulders. And you're going to breathe out. Take another deep breath in the nose. And as you breathe out, you bring your hands down into your heart center, and you breathe out. And then you take one more deep breath in and out. And sometimes it takes doing that 2 or 3 times to really calm that stress response. And when you do that, it really starts to allow you to calm down so that you can think clearly. And think clearly is really what we need when we're stressed out. We can't think clearly, and it's one of the exercises that we can do, and that's called the triple warmer, and you can look it up on YouTube. Another one for stress is also the neurovascular for stress is here, or the triple warmer, and you have a lot of neurovasculars in your on your face. And then, as Emma mentioned, the vagus nerve, you can access it by putting your thumb behind your earlobe, and the rest of your palm will just rest on your face. And you do a 3-finger crane notch with your hands and your fingers, and you put it in the hollow of your throat. And you just sit here. And this is a good one that I do as I'm going to sleep, or when I'm getting up, if I feel already that I'm in stress mode because I have so much racing in my mind. And you just sit here, remembering to take those deep breaths in and out, because breath really helps to move energy. And it feels nurturing. It feels calming to me. It feels almost like a motherly, safe space. And do that for 2 minutes, taking those deep breaths in, and you'll see that your energy and your stress really starts to calm down. See, Emma's yawning. That's her energy moving through, right? She just had energy releasing from doing this. And those are signs: burping, coughing, yawning. Sometimes you'll feel like tinglings in your body, rushing down your leg or up your arm, or that's also energy moving. And so next up, I have my friend Cynthia Stirbys, who came in on our first day to share the beautiful heart opening. And I also asked her to present more, to be able to speak on grief and loss. She definitely helps a lot of her tribe and individuals process and go through this, who are going through this. So, without further ado, please, I want to introduce my friend Cynthia to share some words.
Thank you, Margarita, and thank you for the opportunity to be here again today. I just want to do a little bit more of an introduction of myself. My name is Dr. Cynthia Stirbys, and my area of research was generational trauma and mental health. And as I was completing my counseling degree, I moved into grief work. So I kind of do the combination of all these things. And I'm also a certified dream builder and life mastery coach, where I support uh, specifically women who feel stuck in their life, or they are in the process of rebuilding their life and a life by their design, a life that they love. And and for purposes of today, I would say even creating that new normal. And so I state that specifically because what I wanted to do today was just share a little bit about my grief story, what I learned, and then move into the top 10 things you can do to deal with grief. A little bit of a check-in, and you can write it in the chat. How are people feeling, whether it be grief, whether it be shock still? What is it that you're feeling? It may even be gratitude. So if you can put that in the chat and a number that goes with it. So I'm just doing a check-in. For me, I feel actually a lot of gratitude today for the opportunity to be here again. And I would say that number, really is at a 10. Uh, so Oh, yes, yes. And of course, you can mix them, gratitude 10 and grief 4. Yes, absolutely. So thank you for sharing that. And so just briefly, my story of grief and loss. It's so hard to believe that this year, it's 20 years ago that I experienced this loss. It's hard to believe because one time just moves quickly, life moves quickly, but also I still feel this great love in my heart for the person that I loved and lost. And so I'm kind of a late bloomer in life in terms of so many things, but including really finding that man that I wanted to be with for the rest of my life, the man that I wanted, like the man of my dreams type, I guess you could say. And that I wanted to marry and have a family with. And so I'm at my workplace. This is where I met Kevin, and he asks me how to work the photocopier. And I thought, really? You want me to show you how to work a photo? Okay, he's new here. And so I showed him. That simple little request led to us always being together for like we were together for everything. We went to hockey games, we walked, we did lots of different fun stuff. And at my house, I would be cooking while he was noodling on his guitar, and we would be having these really amazing conversations I'd never had with anybody. There was great depth to it. And it was just kind of feeding my soul while we did this, but we had lots of fun. Now, fast forward 2 years, I'm in a different province, and I'm at in a work travel situation. And the day before I left, I couldn't reach him, which was strange because I had I had his cell phone number, and he also had a pager at the time. And so I just followed through, completed what I needed to complete for work, and then I was on the plane home. And when I arrived, he wasn't there to greet me. Again, very unusual for him not to be there. And what happened, I was worried all night because I couldn't reach him. And then the next day, I called my sister, who didn't live too far from his apartment, and I asked her to meet me there. And so we did, and I asked to go in before her, and I found him, and he had dropped on the floor, and I knew I shouldn't touch him, and I didn't, but it was my sister who did, and she said he's cold and he's dead. And so he literally dropped to the floor, and I found out it was through he had a heart attack from an accidental overdose. And, unbelievable that a 37-year-old man who pretty much was healthy would end like this. So it was devastating. Of course, my reaction was it was severe. And so for all those chats we had about, we were planning to buy our dream house. We were actually planning a baby. So if the baby came before the house, whatever, we had these plans and it was exciting and life was so great. And then all of a sudden it was all gone and life was shattered. There's no house, there's no baby, there's no pending marriage. It was all gone. And so that was one of I've had a lot of trauma in my life. I know grief and trauma very well. And this was one of the hardest things I've gone through, and I didn't know if I could survive it. And so, how do you rebuild when your life is completely shattered and the uncertainty of going forward? Um, but what was amazing, of course, I had a very difficult time, and it felt like nobody understood what I was going through. My best friend of 17 years couldn't stand listening to me talk about Kevin, who she also was good friends with, and I didn't understand why I couldn't talk about him. And so friendships kind of faded away. The people you thought would be there weren't. People that you didn't expect came into my life as well. And so, months went by as I struggled, through and through with my grief. And what was interesting, I had a moment of realization because I was walking around. It was very hard for me to go out into the world. So I was at home. I didn't go too far from my house for months. And then once I started to go out, I had an anger in me because I thought, whoa, I waited half my life to find the man of my dreams. And then he was gone in such short time. So I had a lot of anger. But then one day, I don't know what triggered it, but I had a realization. And that realization was, whoa, you think you're the only one that suffers? Come on, there could be a woman who is a mother of 3 or 4 children who's going through a divorce and trying to figure out how to feed her kids. Right? So there's the divorce, it's the feeding the kids. It might even be looking for a new home. And as I started to think about as I was, going through the grocery store or whatever it was I was doing, and I started really looking at people and wondering what's their story? What are they going through? Then in that realization, I thought, stop the pity party. Everybody suffers. Everybody goes through loss. And that was really the beginning of my transitioning into, and really grief for me became a transformative experience because then I had a greater empathy for everybody. They may not have been going through, a death of a loved one, um, the same situation I have gone through, but they are still going through some kind of a struggle. So the immediate things I learned through grief was you're not the only one that suffers. And so that kind of helped ground me a bit more, and it really helped to alleviate my anger. The other thing is, I had people around me, like I said, my best friend who wanted me to stop talking. And then my own sister told me to stop talking. And the thing about grief is you need to express and it has to come out. Okay. It has to come out. One of the big things I learned is don't stuff grief. You know, the phrase, just keep busy, just keep busy. That actually gives a wrong message because it suggests stuff it. Nobody wants to hear you. There's something wrong with you. No, grief is a natural part. we live, we experience loss, we pick ourselves up, we go again. That is part of being human and part of the human experience. So don't stuff grief, because sickness will occur. And it could come out in cancer, it could come out with mental health, it could come out with other diseases. And people don't recognize that the starting point of whatever, this disease or even alcoholism. So don't take drugs and drink while you grieve. And I did say that once in a forum, and somebody got mad at me, and they're like, I drank and drugged all the way through when I lost my husband. Well, it is a strategy, but it's not the best one. I don't recommend it, because you cannot predetermine how drinking and drugging can create even bigger things that you have to deal with. You don't want to compound your grief and your loss. So I can tell you that when I went for counseling, so find the right counselor. And if intuitively this counselor doesn't feel right, you get out of that office and you find another one. So I had to search and search, because my first counselor was actually a psychiatrist. She could not stand my crying and she wanted to medicate me. And I'm like, and I knew again, intuitively, that if I was to medicate, and 5 years from now, I would be a mess, because that meant I would never actually process the grief. That was my decision. Everybody's going to experience grief differently. That was my decision, and it was the right one for me. So, but also don't stop your grief process for anybody, those closest to you, and those sometimes not so close to you, where they don't want to hear you, or maybe you have to cry in that moment and they can't stand it. No, this is all about you. I don't believe so much in the word selfish, but I'll use that word here. Be selfish in your grief. Um, Experience it, move through those feelings, and you're going to come out better, stronger on the other side, which is what my experience was. So yeah, don't stop the grief process because somebody else is feeling uncomfortable with it. No. What you want to do is, and eventually what I was able to do was I learned how to I learned how to grieve actually with that massive loss. I actually learned how to grieve, and I'll say more about it shortly. And the other big thing here is you can't grieve 24/7, because I did. And after leading up to, well, it probably only took 3 to 4 months, I became emaciated. I was a walking skeleton. And I knew that I was shrinking, because, my clothes didn't fit. My pants were literally falling off. My bras didn't fit anymore. Like I was a skeleton, and I was actually worse off than I knew. But when you grieve 24/7, it takes a toll on your body. And so so let me be clear on this. You can't grieve 24/7, but you don't want to stuff it. So what do you do in between? You just work it through. And eventually I learned to compartmentalize my grief. So eventually it took months, but I got back to work. And I only started part-time, and I would grieve in the morning. So while I was making my breakfast, I was crying, or whatever it was, I was, my thoughts. And then I would, clean my face, get dressed up, go to work just for a half day. And then I would come home and I would kind of process, because my workplace is where I met my partner. And he wasn't there anymore. And I know all the other people around really missed him too. And so it was really hard. But then I would grieve at night. So compartmentalizing grief, so you're allowing it to happen, is really important. So as I started with what I learned, don't stuff it, and then what you do during the grief process. So this is where I'm going to move into the 10 things on how to move through grief. Don't stuff it. Don't try to stop it. Move through it. Um, I allowed, and I came up with this visual in my mind. I allowed and wore, I made a decision. I was going to honor my grief. And so I put on you know, my cloak, and I imagined this big hood and my cloak of grief. And when I had to go out in public, which was really hard for me to do, because I was kind of, I guess, going into self-isolation there. But when I did that, when I imagined wearing my cloak of grief, I actually felt safe. I felt safe in the world. And so how do you honor your grief in 10 steps? They're not steps. You move through it. You have hills and valleys. So it's not a framework to follow, but you just use your intuition and follow it. Follow what feels right in the moment. So if you're in a public place and you have the need to cry, go into the bathroom. If you're in a shopping mall, go into the bathroom. And I shared this with you, and I'll take 30 seconds to share it again. And it follows what Margarita does as well with her energy work. You want to create your own energy for healing. And I'm not saying through grief, there's something wrong with you. Absolutely not. As I'm going to repeat, it's a human experience. It's normal to grieve. So you create this energy in your hands, and you can put it on your chest, on your heart, because that's often where grief goes, is in your heart, right? And so you can take 3 minutes in a bathroom. You can do this for a minute or 2 minutes. And then you just kind of do a little meditative state and you say, I'm okay. I'm safe. I am loved. And whatever message you want to give. And you breathe through it, breathe 5 seconds in your nose, 7 seconds out your nose. If you can do it that way, the reason I say in your nose and not out your mouth, they are learning very clearly that when you breathe in your nose, out your nose for longer, you open up all the cells in your body and you're oxygenating your whole body. Okay. And that's what you want. You want to create a new energy. You want to honor your grief by doing that. And if you have to sit in a bathroom stall for 5 minutes just to feel grounded again and have a cry, do it. That's okay. You're honoring your grief, and that's the most important thing. So, one, acknowledging your grief. So everything I've just shared, honoring your grief, is acknowledging it. Again, it's a natural response to loss, and it's essential to accept and honor your feelings without any denying of that this is what's happening. And so allow yourself to feel sadness, anger, guilt, or even relief. And you can do it without judgment. No judgment on this, no judgment at all. Okay. And number two, seek support from others. And thank you, Margarita, for this beautiful session, because anybody who's attended, this is for their support and also for them to support others. So when you come together in community, grief is universal. It doesn't matter what culture you come from. We all experience loss. And so this is a beautiful thing to get support from others. So whether it be in community, other family members, a counselor that you really connect with and you trust, these things are very important. Allow yourself to grieve in your own way. Like I said, I learned to compartmentalize my grief, and nobody told me that. I just kind of figured it out. So I was listening to my body and listening to what I needed. And that was part of honoring my own grief. And another thing about allowing yourself to grieve in your own way is journaling. And while I was preparing for this, I found my journal. This is the journal that I wrote, and I may have only written 10 minutes a day, usually because I started crying and I was, getting my sheets wet, but this is the journal. And I specifically picked this out, and it's beautiful because this is a sacred process. It's a sacred process, and all the words that you write on your page, all those words are sacred too. So I wrote about my loss. I wrote about my loved one. I have letters that I've written to Kevin in here. And to go back and read it, I still feel the depth of the loss. But it easily gets replaced with the depth of the love that I had for him, but that I know that he had for me. So in times of grief, at times when I have to do that exercise I just showed you, and I am okay, I'm safe, and I'm loved, I always, I think of him, because, what you had, love carries on forever. Um, And don't compare your grief. When we talk about allowing yourself to grieve in your own way, never compare your grief to how others grieve. From the outset, sometimes it looks like somebody, and I really hate this phrase, so I'm going to do air quotes on it. They gotten over it. No, you never get over a loss. You just learn to carry it with you, and the weight of it gets lighter, right? And the intensity of it gets dimmer. Okay, so avoid comparing your grief or any of those emotions with anybody else. You think they're doing better than you, they've moved on, never do that. You have your own process and it's for a reason. Practice self-compassion. One of the things, and we probably have all heard this, but in that moment of grief, practicing self-compassion, when somebody said to me, and it was at my partner's funeral, take it week by week, day by day, minute by minute. There were many minutes where I felt it so intense. And I reminded myself, you just have to get through this next 5 minutes. That's it. just just breathe, or whatever, my meditation or a memory, and then I would smile, and then I would get through the grief. And I was so grateful to that woman at the funeral who said that to me. She said it in such a warm way, and I still remember her kindness. So her kindness and her kind words led to me to be more compassionate and kind to myself, without self-criticism, without judging. This is taking too long. This is taking too long. Because we tend to beat ourselves up emotionally. And guess what? We don't have to. It's exhausting. Let it go. Just be. Just be. Um, Yeah, so grieving does take emotional energy. And if you feel tired and you have to stop and take a nap, my naps, I like having 20, 30-minute naps, but my naps were like 3 hours. And if you have to sleep for 3 hours in the middle of the day, again, it's another process of honoring your grief. Engage in rituals or traditions. So again, different cultures. What is the ritual or tradition? I'll just quickly share that before I came online. Um, in my so I'm Soto Cree, a native from Treaty 4 in Canada, and I had sage and Santo Paulo, and am I saying that right? Santo Paulo, or was it Palo Santo? I always do that. I always confuse it, but I love it. And so I burned them together, and I still smell it here. And so of course when for the sage or the other medicine, is that it's clearing the energy, and it's bringing good energy, like healing energy, like soft energy, and I did that today so that anybody who hears these words, that it'll be received in a good way, that you feel supported and loved. And so that's one of the traditions in my culture. And also, it's interesting. I think there's been some experiments with sage, that actually the smell of sage, and any medicine similar, can actually, it touches your brain, and it does create a quietness in your brain. So it's very helpful to, especially when you're feeling a lot of emotion welling up. Um, and again, I mentioned already writing your thoughts and feelings. So journaling your feelings is really, really helpful. What it does is, it's also, many people don't think of this, but when you write in a journal, it's a record. You can go back to it. And when I go back to my journal from time to time, I don't do it like every week or every month, but when I go back from it to time, um, it actually just gives me strength, because I learned, like I said, grief was a transformative process for me. It reminded me of what I learned and how far I've come, right? It also, in journaling it initially, it's another way to process your feelings. Okay. And, and seeking professional help. I've mentioned that already. you might not, the first therapist you go to might not be the one for you. You might have to go to two or three. And the first one I had, 3 sessions, I was done. The second one, she was pretty amazing. But as soon as she started talking to me like a mother, because I knew she cared for me. And I love that she cared for me. But as soon as she started giving me advice like a mother, I knew our time was done. And so I had to say, love you, hug you, I gotta go. And she totally understood, right? Because the boundaries, there was no longer boundaries between counselor and client anymore. She had crossed the boundary. And so I recognized that. And then I found um, a third therapist, and every one of them I had learnings from all of them, and um they helped me all get to the next step, which was so important. So seeking professional help is really important. And then the next one, number 8, focus on physical and mental well-being. And this is where the medicines I had mentioned, using the sage, and the other medicine at the beginning, and it's still in the air, which is very comforting. So that can help with mental health, but it's also really important. You can use music. And I don't know if you want to play the song. Yeah? Okay. So we'll play a song, and I've left it up to Margarita, whichever one. And the idea of the song is just to move. It could be, so I'm going to be right here moving to the music. And what that allows is, really, grief gets stuck in our body. And so you want it to move out, and song is a way to move it. You might cry through the song, you might laugh, you might smile. You want a range of emotions. You don't want to stay in sad or anger. You want to start to build your emotions to move back to joy and laughter. Okay, so Margarita's going to play. We're going to listen to the song, and then I'll have 2 more things to share with you.
Yes, and so this song that I'm going to play is called Grand Soul, and a dear friend of mine, Billy Mallery, is the composer for it. And it's just instrumental, which I thought would be appropriate so that we could put our own emotion to it. ends. It reminds me of my heartbeat. Get back to me.
I love that. Wow. And the tip there on music, dance like nobody's watching. So I was looking at the screen and then I decided to close my eyes and move, and I just felt that much and much more deeply. And I so appreciate that. That was beautiful. Um, so when we're coming back to the number 8, focus on physical and mental well-being, we did the example of using music and movement, and that helps release your grief, but it helps you move through different emotions. And it's really important. This is what I had a hard time with in grief when I was grieving: healthy eating. I actually wasn't eating. That's probably the reason I became emaciated. But nourishing your body with balanced meals, if you can't cook yourself, and I totally get it, how hard that is, then, there takeout, places that it's good food, it's not junk food, can really be helpful. Sleep, allowing your body to rest, even if your schedule feels disrupted. So the napping in the middle of the day, take that opportunity. And I also, I didn't plan to say this, but I'm going to note what really helps is lemon balm. You can drink it in a tea, or you can take a little capsule. It helps with cortisol, to reduce cortisol, which is the stress hormone, but it also helps you to, once the cortisol is lowered, your sleep can start to get back on track. So I'm going to recommend that to anybody. It's not a medicine, it's an herb. So it's pretty powerful. And I use that now. And again, we've already talked about movement, but yoga, there's a restorative yoga where there's only 6 postures, but restorative yoga, it might be an hour or an hour and a half class, and you're supported by lots of cushions and blankets. And it's like getting hugged. It's like getting hugged. It's so beautiful. So if anybody needs that, it's kind of, what's the word I'm trying to think of? I mean, it seems so simple, but it actually generates such a feeling of calm. So if you can do restorative yoga, and again, there's smaller movements, and you hold the movements and you do breath work. It's amazing. I love it. And mindfulness and meditation, Margarita shared that earlier today. And that bit that I showed you, that's called, I call it the strengthening heart exercise. So that's an energy work as well. The next one, number 9, create a memory box or a tribute or a new vision for your new normal in life. So, creating memories in a memory box, even some of your journal pages, there might be something that you write, or drawing or painting, and creating something that's a comforting keepsake of what you learned and how this was an event in your life, and it was a life-changing event, but you're not going to dishonor it, you're going to honor it. So that could, or as a group, you can do a memorial and some kind of a tribute. Number 10, give yourself time. So releasing grief, and it may not everly entirely leave you. And there's a little illustration I once read, and I don't know if there was a pictorial with it, like a graphic, or if it's just what I visualized in my mind, because it's going a few years ago. There was a story about a little boy who saw an old tree, like maybe through a storm, the tree broke open, and the trunk was there, and he found a stone and he put it in the middle of the tree. And years later, he came back and there were parts of the tree, like, it had been damaged, but it continued to grow and it continued to thrive. And he peeked in that little spot. He was able to see a little space. The stone was still there. But to me, that is a metaphor for grief, that grief is an event that happened in your life. It still may stay with you, but it doesn't mean you won't have growth around it, and that you can't live a beautiful life after, that event. And so giving yourself time and not judging yourself for how long that may take is really important. And so, because with grief, there's not a timeline. There's not a timeline at all. Um, some days is going to feel easier. Some days is going to feel like a struggle. And on those days that it feels like a struggle, remember to be kind to yourself. There are times when when I think about transformation and grief, there are times I would literally be crying while I'm coming from my upstairs to my downstairs, and I'd stop on the landing and I just said out loud, this is what transformation feels like sometimes, you know? But it gets you to that next chapter in your life, really. And you can write that next chapter. You can prepare for it. You can create what your heart desires. What is it you want to create for your new normal or your new life? And you will evolve while you go through grief. I don't think people think of grief as a point of evolution. That's what it was for me. And I think the reason it really came out that way for me was because I didn't stuff it. I said, I'm going to honor you. I'm going to love you, grief. And in my counseling training, what we would do is we would take the grief and we would cradle it like a baby, and we'd talk to the grief and we'd say, I see you. I hear you. I know you're here to protect me and help me work through it. I know that you're here for that. And so I appreciate and I love you. And what's really amazing and shocking to people is that the next day they're like, wow, I feel energized. And so when grief is acknowledged, it tends not to stick around for as long. And there's a purpose for it. So please know that. So those are the 10 things, and I'll just quickly state them again. So acknowledging your grief, don't stuff it, honor it. Seek support from others. Allow yourself to grieve in your own way, and practice self-compassion. Take it week by week, day by day, minute by minute. Engage in rituals or traditions. Write your thoughts and feelings. It helps you move through those feelings. Seek professional help and use your intuition if this is the right person for you. You need to connect. If they're going to help you, you need to connect with them. If that connection's not there, go to somebody else, and that's perfectly fine. Focus on physical movement. We did that today with that beautiful song. And this will support your mental health and well-being. And within that, that includes healthy eating, sleeping. And if your sleep is broken up over 14 hours in the day, you sleep 6 hours, you're up for 3, you're sleeping for another 30 minutes, you're up for 3, you're sleeping for that. Don't worry, don't judge yourself on that. Create a memory box, tribute, create a new vision for your new life. You might want to do it as a community to have a memorial. Give yourself time. There's no set timeline on grief. And just some additional tips, practicing gratitude. So I had mentioned at the beginning that I had a huge amount of anger when I lost my partner. Well, when you're expressing gratitude, you can't express gratitude and anger. You can't have both, right? Because they're kind of opposite of the spectrum. If you're feeling anger, you're pushing gratitude away. But when you start to acknowledge and feel gratitude, I'm here, I'm alive, I survived, I have an opportunity to continue my life. That gratitude, the anger starts to move. And the more you practice gratitude, the anger again, and you can create a little anger too. You can say, you have every right to be here. And you can do that. And then eventually anger says, thank you for acknowledging me. I appreciate it. And anger will also be on its way. And when you practice gratitude on top of that, it just strengthens it. Stay connected to nature as much as possible. If you can get to the beach, if you can walk barefoot, um, and explore other creative outlets. I I don't have my painting here, but I eventually painted a heart, and that heart, it goes with me. It's actually part of my logo now for my dream life coaching. It's actually my logo and it's my painting. And I feel so proud. Like, I don't usually tell a lot of people about that, but when I look at it, there's such depth in the heart that I feel so proud when I see it. So that is my logo. So exploring creative outlets could be poetry writing, it could be painting, it could be other things. And so remember, grief, as I conclude here, grief is not something to be fixed because there's nothing wrong with you. It's totally normal in times of loss, um, to feel grief. And in our society, grief is not easily accepted. But I can tell you, when you learn to honor your grief, everything changes in such a powerful, magnificent way that it is transformative. So grief, it's a journey of learning that you live with the loss, but it doesn't mean you're not going to thrive and you're not going to be better and stronger than you were before. Because that's anything is possible. And it doesn't mean by living a quality, amazing, beautiful life, it doesn't mean you're releasing, that you're forgetting about anything that was in your past, whether it be a loved one, whether it be, that location where you used to live, or even maybe friends that are no longer friends anymore because you're grieving and they don't know how to support you and they walk away. Um, you're not losing, you might feel like that at the beginning, but you're just really acknowledging that's what was. And you can create anything you want for the future. You can do it on your own time and in your own way. And when you have support around that, anything is possible. So I hope that has been helpful to anybody that hears this. And you, all those things that I mentioned, you don't have to try and do it all at once. You take it a little bit at a time and you build on it. And some of those pieces will become automatic. Like, I started walking when I was grieving because I couldn't run. I just didn't have the energy. In my past, I was a competitive runner and I couldn't run. So I started walking. And now that I'm older, I continue to walk, and it's part of my own health regime now. So thank you, Margarita, for the invitation to be here today. I really appreciate being here, and I'll pass it back to you. Oh, I can't hear you.
Thank you, Cynthia, for being here again and answering the call to come back and in the first place to be here twice in a week. What a pleasure. And I got so many great tidbits. What a beautiful takeaway for all of us. The big ones that landed for me.
It's a little fuzzy. I can't hear you clearly. There's a static.
Can you hear me better now? I'm getting my mic closer.
Yes, it's good now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was a lot of really great tidbits that I took from. I took all the notes that you were giving us, and the big ones that stood out were, for me, be kind to yourself,
Mhm.
and then also be kind to the people who are grieving. There is no time for grief. It's a journey, and respect and honor that it's their process and it's their journey as well, and just being a space for them to feel comfort, something that's comforting. The other thing that really stood out for me was cradling and speaking to your grief. I got so many chills on that because I believe emotions are also like a living thing, and you can speak to it, and your body, you can speak to your organs, you can talk to your organs, and you can talk to your body. And the same thing with emotions, talking to your emotions, acknowledging them. Sometimes they just want to be acknowledged, just like most of us, right? Just being acknowledged for being. Another thing is that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you for the way and the hows and the whys you're grieving. And it's a journey. It's not a one and done. It's not going to be overnight, and it is a journey. And creating a memory box or a tribute for them, I think, is also very beneficial and helping, but that beautiful journal that you shared and it being such a sacred thing where you just share your grief emotions in there was so beautiful. And we talked a lot about journaling already throughout the week, but what a beautiful tribute to have one book where you can just put in, because I have a gratitude journal separate, and then I have my journal, right? But having a journal of grief, it's beautiful. And to remember to go to it again after a while so that you can see your evolution. Because sometimes it feels like you might feel like you're getting stuck and you're still stuck. But going back and reading where you were to where you are now, you really start to see and recognize that there has been a shift, there has been growth, there has been change and healing. And that's a beautiful thing. So thank you for grounding us in that as we move along at the end of the week here. And I love that you presenced creative outlets, because that is something that I did mention dancing and music. We've all kind of mentioned dancing and music and sound, but poetry, writing your own songs, art, there's like colors are attached to emotion. So, and this is a great exercise for the little ones who are grieving because they lost their homes or they lost a loved one. And this is a great family activity that we can all do together as a family. Maybe it could be a family collage even, where everybody puts in a color or draws on one corner, and maybe it's different pictures, or maybe it's one whole picture that you guys kind of create together. What a beautiful way to express your emotions and to also create bonds and a space of love and healing together. So thank you for all those beautiful gifts. And again, I honor the journey that you've been on, and you're a testament to, in 20 years, it's still there. But you've found all these beautiful ways that now you help others through their process as well. So thank you for the work that you do in the world and for helping people in their worst time to see the light. So thank you, and I honor you and so grateful to you. So with that, my friends, remember, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. It's okay to grieve. Take your time, express your emotions, honor how you're feeling. Take the time to feel the feels. They can feel overwhelming, but now you have some energy medicine and heart strengthening exercises that Cynthia gave us as well that we can use during those moments. And it's in the moment that you're feeling it that those energy techniques really come in handy in your toolkit. When you're feeling fear, that fear tap. When you're feeling overwhelmed, just putting your hands on your head and letting them sit there. You know, the stress one, all the ones that we've done so far are all really great tools and techniques that I hope you take away from this and use them, and you can see firsthand how they do work. And with that, keep praying for those in the world who are grieving and who are suffering and who are homeless right now. And I ask that you hold them in your light and your love. And I hope to see you tomorrow. And again, you can find me on YouTube, Margarita Rose _8, on Facebook, on Instagram. And follow, subscribe, whatever you have to. If you want to be part of this community, also reach out to me, personal message me, and we can have a conversation on how you can contribute with your wealth of wisdom, knowledge, love, and light as well. Till then, my friends, stay in the light.